my genes, I guess. So, to county council reasonably appears.
Well, I suggest we strike that and just it's under the age of 18 and who has participated in the public health training for youth program.
Okay.
So we strike that language, and I'd also like to make the following amendment to paragraph 6.20020A, so the clerk can get that down. The second sentence, no license may be issued to authorize tobacco retailing at other than a fixed location.
Okay.
Those would be my recommended changes if you wanted to move this forward today.
What would you name that section again?
Page 3.
Page 3.
6.20.020, paragraph A. It's page 3.
Sentence.
It's the second sentence.
No license may be issued.
Issued, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Supervisor Delbar.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My hesitation on eliminating that language at this point in time, after all the work that's been done on this, I'm not quite as comfortable with that. I think we had that discussion previously. There's a reason, and as far as the ordinance is concerned, the way it is now, with the exception of the typo, I'm prepared to move forward with it.
Okay. Supervisor Pinches?
I support that because I felt at one time several years ago that I was a victim of an ABC agent, and actually the person pretty much after the case was all over admitted that they put this person up to look under 21. So I was a victim of that. So I think the wording of to be reasonably, I'd like to see that left in there. It's just to me, it's a further assurance that that they're not going to try that, because frankly, I felt that it was attempted on me, and actually they were successful. And that's been years ago, so I support leaving that language in there.
Okay, well, we are at the board level. Further discussion at the board level and or action?
I'll make a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance with the exception of that typo on 6.20-020, second paragraph.
Okay, there's a motion to accept with a minor modification, wordsmithing. Do I hear a second?
Second.
There is a second. Discussion to the motion? Hearing, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the first reading of this amended ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously with Supervisor Colfax absent.
Cindy, make the change immediately and get the, because they're going to publish today, so we can do the second reading.
Thank you for your attendance on this item. Lots of work went into this, and this was a very collaborative effort between the retail public and the county. So I do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, at this point, a couple of items of routine business. There are no appointments to boards or commissions today. That's just a general announcement. We do have a timed item at 11:15, so let's move to that. I'm sorry. Oh. I'm sorry, I guess I overlooked that.
10:30.
Okay. Okay. My mistake. Yes. The board will now convene as the Mendocino County Water Agency Board of Directors, take up items of the water agency. So at this point, let's move to that item. Mr. Sanford.
All right, well, good morning. I'll move this along fairly quickly here. As you know, over the last 2 years, the Water Agency has and actually continues to investigate a variety of water storage options in the county. And as a part of that process, we've taken a pretty serious look at several projects, which we'll talk more about in a moment. Just to set the table, so to speak, we've identified 4 promising projects and have conducted limited investigations to assess their feasibility. I think collectively we've spent about $100,000 on these 4 projects. And we like what we see in terms of their probable feasibility, engineering and environmental feasibility of these projects. But now, if we're going to move much further, we need to conduct some rather expensive investigations and actually start spending some serious amounts of money. I'll get into that money thing more in a moment, but first I just want to give you a few words about timelines and the next steps. Excuse me. Today we're talking about proposing to move forward with what I like to call the Phase 2 feasibility investigations. And the purpose of these investigations is to kind of finalize or come to a final conclusion on the economic viability of these projects, but also to provide sufficient information to further define the project and set the stage for the environmental review, preparation of an EIR. Now, for planning purposes, we are estimating that the various feasibility studies that for these 4 projects would take anywhere from 6 months to a year to complete, and each would cost anywhere from $75,000 to $250,000 to complete, depending on the project. After that will come the environmental review, the EIR, which will, I'd say, easily take a year, probably more likely a year and a half to complete, and again, cost on the order of